And bam, there we go. All right. Once again, welcome to our CLIP District Improvement Plan, Family, and Stakeholder Input Meeting. Today is March the 15th, 2022, and the session will run from about 6 to about 7, just depending on how much information that we're going to be sharing with you today. I'm Michelle Gilliard. I'm your Service and Leadership Family School Partnership Coordinator. We also have Miss Jennifer Lansing here. She is our my fingers is stopping my mouth. Our special programs Family School Partnership Coordinator, Miss Nayeli. She is for our secondary grades, and Miss Sonia Welch for our middle grades. And then we also have Miss Veronica Opani. She is for our primary and elementary grades. And then our guest speaker that is going to be fulfilling you with so much information and gathering some great data from you for the impact, Miss Lucretia Nolan, who will be presenting to you this afternoon. Really quickly, though, before I turn the session over to her, just want to give you a quick housekeeping rules. If you're hearing that little ding coming up every time someone comes in the room, or type it in the chat box, if you go up to the little attendees pane, which is up to the right of your name. So if you see my little laser pointer kind of pointing up to it, you're going to click on the little cog next to your name. And once you open that, this little box will pop up. From there, you can click on notifications to turn those off. You can also refresh your connection if you lose sound or if you lose picture, or if you need to step away for a moment to get a drink of water or use the restroom, you can use that button so that we know you are away from the session. And with that, I will turn it over to Miss Lucretia Nolan, again, our Federal Programs Director. Thank you, Lucretia.
Thank you, Michelle. I really do appreciate that. And I'm so glad so many of you have been able to join us tonight. Thank you for taking time out of your evening to come listen to our processes for school improvement. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So as I get into this, we're going to talk a little bit about the CNA and the CLIP. We're going to define those for you. We're going to discuss stakeholders, who they are, and how important they are. We're going to review our current plan and our use of federal funds at the moment. And then we're going to talk about your involvement and how you can be a part of GCA school improvement. So we're going to start with talking a little bit about Georgia's system of continuous improvement. So this is something that we follow as a school or LEA in Georgia, and we must talk about the entire process. And so we're going through that green arrow on the outside there. That is our process that we're working on right now. So we, throughout the year, we basically go around and around that wheel. So we're at the point right now where we need to identify needs, and it's up there at the top of the picture right now, if you see that. And so we will identify our needs. That's going to be our focus tonight, really. And then we'll, under the Y arrow, you'll see select interventions. And as it goes around, we'll plan our implementation. And then we'll actually implement the plan. So if we come up with a plan, we have to implement it. It has to be something that's actionable, right? And then we have to go back around that wheel again and examine our progress and how are we doing on what it is that we're trying to do. And if we are not making the progress that we intend, we have to keep going. We have to identify that need again. What is it that we need to be able to improve? So that's our how to improve. And then, of course, what do we improve? That is the red circle in there. And although that may be a little small, it's effective leadership, professional capacity, supportive learning environment, cohesive, coherent instructional system, and family and community engagement. And this is absolutely where you guys are a very, very important part. And the reason that we do this, of course, is for the whole child. They are our why. That's why we do school improvement, to make sure they're getting the best academic that they can possibly get. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the CNA. So we call it the CNA, but it is the Comprehensive Needs Assessment. So it is a needs assessment that looks at the entire school. And we use this process to identify our needs and any performance challenges that we may have at our school. We also have to take that information and look and find root causes. Why is this happening? Maybe the grades didn't end up as well as they needed to, maybe in math or something. I'm just throwing something out there because right now we're doing really well. We actually exceeded the state in our last set of evaluations. But we have to look at root causes. We need to set priorities for future action. So, what is the most important thing that we need to do and take away from this? Our schools in Georgia and our districts must use this comprehensive needs assessment for improvement planning and budgeting. It is a requirement for us. So the CNA is basically the very first step in us developing that school-wide improvement plan. So we have to have a place to start. And that place to start is actually looking at data, finding and collecting data and information, determine the areas of need like we just talked about, but also we need to talk about areas of strength or success. What are we doing well? What are we doing so well that we want to make sure that we keep that? So we have to look at everything when we're looking at our comprehensive needs assessment because we need to keep the things that are working for our students. This is a required process for the allowable use of federal funds, but it's not just with federal funds, it is with the entire school improvement. So a lot of people think that, oh, well, it's a federal fund. Um, it's for the use of federal funds, so maybe it's just for the federal funds. No, it is for the entire school. It is a school improvement process. And then we form teams to work with all of our stakeholders to complete that process. So it's not really done in just one single office in one single corner of the building. We invite everybody to the table. So, who are our stakeholders? Well, we have school stakeholders to start with, and these are folks that are required to be at the table: our superintendent, our federal programs people, curriculum people, our school leaders, teachers, our homeless liaison. We like to say displaced, but that is the title for this particular project. Our family engagement folks, our special ed directors, our students in 8th grade through 12th grade, we are required to find out what's working for them and what needs to be addressed in their area. We also have recommended folks to be at the table. So our testing director, finance, CTAE, student support personnel, principal reps, high school counselors, teachers from various disciplines. We want all of our teachers coming to the table and we want all of our parents coming to the table. Our HR and a bilingual parent liaison. So we certainly want someone who is able to share this in other languages with our parents. So, what the CNA does, it leads into the comprehensive LEA, or you can call it school improvement, but the comprehensive LEA school improvement plan. So, we call it the CLIP. So, we do a lot of acronyms: the CNA, the CLIP, and that's what this is. So, we start with the CNA and it rolls into the CLIP. And basically, the Every Student Succeeds Act, ESSA, of 2015 put in place some actionable items from all of the states. And so the Georgia Department of Education has to collect this consolidated local plan or application from every LEA in this in Georgia. So that's where that word LEA comes from, local education agency. And we are an LEA. We're a school here in Georgia. So as such, we have to submit this plan. And it contains descriptions, information, assurances, and other materials that are considered by the DOE as absolutely necessary to define how we, the school, are going to support our students under the law. All right, so a lot of the times we hear that the federal funds are the cherry on top. And what that means is that as a school, we have our state funding and it's our base. It's our bowl and our ice cream. We have that funding there that is meant to support the basis of the school. And then we're given this additional funding, this federal funding, to get the extras, if you will, to get those extras that our students need to be able to remove barriers, to be successful in their academics, all of these things. It's the topping. And we're very, very happy to be that cherry on top and to be the thing that allows us to get all of the extras. So, some of the things that we have been providing lately, of course, my favorite is Sora. I hope that all of your students are taking advantage of having a library that is absolutely brimming with ebooks and audiobooks. Um, Pleasure reading for our students. They can, instead of walking into their brick and mortar library, they can log on to this library from anywhere and get a book that they want to read, something that interests them. But we also have books in our classrooms. Our classroom sets for our English classes, our ELA classes, they have the ability to get classroom sets so that there is that reading going on. We recently added workbooks for social studies. We have added microscopes for some of our science classes. You may have seen our mouse pens go out to a lot of our kids. All of the kids should have gotten them by now, as all of the students. It was a one time gift from the school. We are also doing manipulatives, math manipulatives, mostly for the elementary grades. And then we're also doing phonics kits for our little bitties and some primary journals as well. Some of the other things that we've been able to provide to some of our students, especially our displaced students and foster students, we've been able to provide them with a whole slew of school supplies so that they can participate in school just as fully as the next child. Oops, it didn't go. Hold on, I apologize. There we go. All right, so this year, FY22, there were some interventions that we also funded in addition to all of those supplies. So we funded our family engagement liaisons. I hope you love your FEL. That is such a wonderful team that we have, and we fund that. Our family school partnership coordinators, Michelle introduced all of the coordinators there at the beginning, and they are a critical component to our school. Our transitional student liaisons, our data coordinators, our school library, professional development for our teachers and our leaders. Very important for us to continue learning so that we can support our students in the best way possible. We provide our new teachers training and mentor. We provide tutoring to our students in all kinds of ways. So we have air tutors, we have Tutor Me, we have ongoing tutoring within GCA. We talked about the manipulatives in math and ELA. We also do dual enrollment. We have social emotional training. We provide document cameras and bamboo boards to our teachers so it helps them teach in the classroom. Supplies for our displaced students, as I mentioned. We provide transportation for our displaced students so that they can get to testing. We provide physical reading materials and interventions for our children that are in our ESOL program. We provide Gizmo. It is an online program that's phenomenal for our science and math. And then Gaggle, we have recently added, which is external therapy for students if they are struggling emotionally. So all of these things roll up to what are currently our goals. So these are the goals that come out of this improvement process. We want to increase student achievement in all content areas across all grades. And we want to increase our graduation rates as well. I mean, the goal is to get your children across that stage after they've had their educational career with us. We want them to be able to be successful there. And we also want to increase professional development for our teachers and our leaders in instruction, instructional leadership, and organizational leadership. It's really important for us to be able to support our kids. All right. So some of the funds that we currently receive that are going into various actions and interventions here, we have our Title 1A, we have Title 1 SIG, we have Title 2, Title 3, Title 4, Title 9, we have IDEA, and then we have the recent funding, the ESSER funds 1, 2, 3, and homeless youth funding that have come directly out of the pandemic. So we are also looking at basically improvement there. Now, I'm going to go ahead and mention right away that under a separate heading down at the bottom on the note board, you'll see the American Rescue Plan. We are also to send out information regarding that, asking for your feedback back specifically on the ESSER funds for ESSER 3, which is the ARP Rescue Plan. And you'll find that already on our website. And you will also start seeing stuff come out from our lovely FSPCs soon. All right. So to use the federal funds, so we have a lot of requirements that says, okay, you have these funds, but these are the things that you need to do. The need must be identified. So that's why we're starting this with the CNA. We have to develop a process to figure out what the school needs. And then we need to go find the data to support it. We can't just say we need math manipulatives. Well, what is the data behind that that says that we need math manipulatives? So we say we need something, and then we go find the data that shows that, yes, indeed, we need that. Or maybe the data brings it up first. We start seeing something in our data. It's like, oh, we need to look at this. What do we need to fix that? So it can go either way. The intervention must be allowable under the program and meet the intent and purpose of that program. So each of those programs I just listed off have a different set of rules to them. And even with the ESSER funds, 1, 2, and 3 all have different rules, but we have to make sure that we meet those rules. The intervention must be included in the budget. If it's not listed, if I don't go in and list everything that we decide on and we accidentally leave something off, we would have to do a budget amendment to add it back in there, because if it's not listed, we can't do it. It must be very specific. I can't just say I'm going to buy supplies. I have to say what kind of supplies. I'm going to buy paper and pen and tape and glue and markers. I have to be very specific. And we have to make sure that when we're reviewing this, that we're very specific in what the needs are or what the interventions are that meet those needs. And if there is something that is unsuccessful or we can't prove that it was successful, those interventions should not be continued to be funded. It's kind of like throwing good money after bad. You try something, with all good intentions, we put something in place and it's like, this is going to help. And then we find out that maybe it didn't help as much as we thought it did. We need to reevaluate that and determine why it didn't work and if it should continue to be funded to give it another chance, or if it should just be removed from the program altogether. So another big, huge piece of the requirement is the evidence-based intervention. So I can't just say as an LEA that we're going to do XYZ and nobody's ever tried XYZ. It must be evidence-based. It must have proven strategies, providing academic support, and it has to show success, significant success. And that is across the board, and it includes things like direct instructions, instructional support, professional development, any activity, strategy, or intervention intended to improve academic outcomes needs to be looked at for evidence. Can it work? Has it worked someplace else? Is there reasoning that suggests that it will work? And if there is not current evidence already, then there is a process to create that evidence and make sure that what we are doing as a school is successful for our students. So you're here tonight and you're probably wondering, well, how can I help? Because you are a parent here at the school. You are a learning coach. You are a learning or a legal guardian here. You may be a staff member here that has come to join us. All of us are very important. Our voices need to be heard. We need to be at the table. So in the note board, you'll see a clip survey link. And if you will open that and take some time to think through that. Now, if you can't answer every single one of those questions, it is quite all right. You may skip whatever whatever question that you feel like you cannot answer. And there may be a few of those because a lot of the questions are really focused towards the school answering those questions, but we want the parents to look at it too. And there's an opportunity for you to provide candid answers to some of the questions. And I want you to know that the responses are completely confidential. Nobody's going to come back to you and say, oh, Miss Jones, you said XYZ. And it is okay for you to put your name on there. because what happens is the answers are completely disaggregated. So maybe Miss Jones did answer, and Miss Jones' name is on line 11, but Miss Jones' answer to the first question may be on line 39, and the next answer may be on line 2, and the next answer may be on line 2000. It's all jumbled, it's all disaggregated, and it won't be traced back to any originator for for those purposes, because we want you to feel like you have the ability to tell us if you feel like there's something that we're not doing well. We want constructive criticism, obviously. We want it to be meaningful, and we want it to be actionable, and we want it to be something that we can really do to help our kids. And then you can volunteer to be on a team. So we will be looking for people to help us out. So as some of the needs start showing up, let's say that we find that art happens to be something that art supplies, maybe 1,000 people said, our kids would do so much better if they had art supplies. And I'm just using this as an example. Please, this is not something I'm asking anybody to take to, you know, if you feel like we need art supplies, okay, you're welcome to do that. But I'm just using this as just an example, and say that 1,000 people said, oh, we really need that. Well, that would be enough for us to say, okay, there is a lot of people indicating a need here. We're going to make a team just to look at art supplies, and we're going to figure out how our kids can do better with getting those art supplies. How would we get those art supplies? What is the root cause for them not having art supplies? So on and so forth. And we're going to look at all of those bits and pieces and parts to make a plan. And we're going to look and do an actionable item that will go into our clip. All right. And so um, those suggested improvements and interventions will be included, and we'll look at those and see if there's a way that we can fund them and if it's something that we can really do. Sometimes there's things that we can't do, even though there's a lot of ask for it. It might be something that we just literally cannot do. Maybe it's a board policy change or something like that. But there's a million different things that I could suggest or use as examples here. So just understanding that we will absolutely do our best going through all of the data and understanding where the needs are. So, why are we doing this and how are we doing this? We are doing this as a GCA effort with everyone. It takes all of us to improve. We all need our voices heard. And why? Because GCA students deserve the best from each of us. They need us looking after them and having their best interest in mind for their education and for their academic success. That's why we do this, and that's why we should keep doing this. So this is one of our little students here. She had received her phonics kit, and she gave us a very lovely thank you. And I thank you for joining us tonight. I really do appreciate the time and effort that you've put into joining us. If you would, make sure that you get a copy of the presentation if you like it. Make sure you do the attendance link. We need to know that you were here tonight. We want to be able to say, yes, our parents are involved and they're here. Take some time and do the clip survey. That's in there too, that link. And it is going to take a little bit of time. It really will. And then also, as you start seeing more information come out on the American Rescue Plan, please take a moment and give us your feedback there as well. That's really important there. We need to be able to say that we have our parents at the table and letting us know what our students need. So our link to our survey closes on March 31st. It is in the notebook group. Here it is here if you want to take a picture of it. But again, please, I'm asking all of you that are here tonight, take the time and give us your feedback. It is needed and it is very much appreciated. And don't forget to do that attendance link. I'm going to hand it back over to Michelle. Again, thank you everyone for being here tonight. I appreciate it, and I will see you next time.
Miss Nolan, we appreciate you coming and letting our parents know about the clip and what it's all about. And I really like the way that you expressed how that data, as parents, even as a former GCA parent myself, sometimes I would get surveys and I was like, oh my goodness. But knowing the fact that you explained that that is what drives what we do, I think is going to help our parents understand it is important. And it's not about the survey being long, it's more please take an opportunity to fill it out because that is us asking you a lot of questions to get data so that we can do the wonderful things that we do for your students here at GCA. And with that, we will be closing this session out. Again, thank you so much, Ms. Lucretia Nolan, for coming to present to our families tonight. I'm Michelle Gilliard, your family school partnership coordinator. I have a long title for leadership and service. It was wonderful seeing you all again tonight, and thank you. Again, all of the links, attendance, the American Rescue Plan, the clip survey link, as well as the presentation link, are in the group note board. Please take a moment to fill those out, and we'll see you next time. Have a great rest of your evening.